Hi Parola lovers, I'm PJ Johnson and I have promised a video to everyone, the newcomers and the people that are not familiar with the internals of a Parola Hi-Cam engine. I promised this video for quite a long time and it's high time that I got around to doing it. So this is more or less an introduction. It's not going to be a particularly technical video. A single video can't make a mechanic out of anyone, but it will show those people that are a little bit timid about trying to find out what's inside of one of these engines. It'll give them a leg up on not being afraid, perhaps, to go ahead and try one. Many of us agree that it's one of the prettiest engines that has ever been manufactured, and I got to tell you the truth, I do agree. And so without any fanfare, I think we ought to just go ahead and tear down one of these engines, see what's inside, and learn a few tricks about how they go together and how they can be assembled somewhat easily. So there's really only one more thing to do, and that's to go ahead and get started. Okay, it is May 12th, 2005, several months before Parola Days 2005, and as promised, I'm going to disassemble this engine. It has been rebuilt, and it hasn't had any oil put in it, so it's going to be a little bit neater and perhaps a little bit cleaner to take this apart and show what there is about heard a funny sound. Okay, show what there is about Parolas that's unique, and perhaps a little bit about how to rebuild them. As I mentioned, this is one of 10 that I built back in '96, before the first Parola Days event, and it hasn't had any oil or gas or anything in it. And I will proceed to take it apart and not only show what's in it, but talk a little bit about what a guy would find should he take one of these things apart. Okay, I'm going to start with the dry side of this engine, not because it's the easiest, but because in many ways it's the most complicated of the two covers. And I have just recently taken the Allen heads out and I put them in order so that I can always be sure to have them go back in the same hole. And that's really a good idea for any novice guy taking one of these things apart. I actually take a piece of cardboard and I kind of sketch out the bolt pattern in the cardboard, punch a hole in the cardboard, and stuff the bolt in the hole that it corresponds to in these covers. So I've taken the Allen heads off, and it should be relatively easy now to go ahead, I'll see how this works, and take off the cover. Well, maybe it won't be so easy after all. Hang on for just a minute, I just got to break it loose. Now I did try a remote microphone to try to eliminate the machine noise coming from the video recorder itself, but it turns out that with all the lights that I have in here, I get lots of extraneous noise. So I think the main thing is to just put up with the noise from the video machine itself. At least it will be consistent. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and just gently coax this thing apart. And you notice that the shift boss seems to want to stay with the inner part of the engine, and I don't have a problem with that. I'll just let that happen and tickle this thing apart. I'm usually blocking the video camera for this, but okay, here she comes. Okay. Now you'll notice that I've got a shim in here. This particular engine seems to want a shim between this and the cases. So I do that. And I would say that there's no real need to have any gasket here because this whole area is dry. And these oil seals, if I'm not mistaken, the oil seals in all three of these places are all the same size. So you pop those in, and this area then will stay consequently dry. Now, this is the shift mechanism. I've painted the post on the mechanism itself yellow so that you can distinguish it. And I'll have to get a look at this. You can see that this spring here has to be spread so that the two tangs will be on either side of the yellow post. And it can only go one way. If it turns 180 degrees, it doesn't fit very well. So you'll know right away that of the one correct place that it does fit. Okay, now the back of it is spring-loaded. This one has been cleaned, but as you can see, it's spring-loaded by a sort of a band spring. And all this mechanism just should be cleaned and put back together, and it should work just fine. Now, this has to be spread in, oh, I just lost the shim. This has to be spread in this way to have these two tangs or teeth fit on this area here of the shift lever. And probably the way that this fits the best is about like so. Let me zoom up to show that a little bit better. And it kind of lines up with the piece, and by the way, this is the clutch rod here. Kind of lines up with this. And the thing about this is that when the cover, this cover, actually goes on, this piece here goes in here. I hope that can be seen. And you've kind of got to line it up and make sure that it wants to go in between the two springs. And it's in position for one of them. So when I pull down after it's got a hold of the one, then the rest of the cover will fit rather nicely. Okay? But you've got to remember that if there is a spacer that is needed, you've got to be sure that the spacer is in place before the cover is put on. Okay, we're going to look now at the ratchet and spring for the Kickstarter. Okay, the ratchet and circular spring are correctly set in place, and generally speaking, let's see if this will go down. The Kickstarter starts in this kind of a neighborhood. I'll zoom back so you can see the whole thing. Okay, and as you can see, it wants to spring backwards and will only tolerate a 1/2 or 180 degrees of rotation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and show you the inside and how the spring actually is situated on the inside of the Kickstarter, and how, if you have one of these, how to set it up. Okay, all I've done is take off the kick lever itself, and now I will turn it over so you can get an idea how this should look. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here so that we can see what it is that we're actually dealing with. Now, this is under a tremendous amount of tension, and as a result, if I remove this gear, the fan gear, for want of a better term for that, is just going to turn loose of itself, like that. So, what we need to do is find out where the rest position is, and oops. That's pretty much the rest position with the actual Kickstarter gear taken out. And as you'll see, if we try to just simply lift this gear, it'll come out of the spring, which has got a hook here. I think you can see the hook right here on the spring. Boy, this thing doesn't want to aim. Okay, I think you can see the hook to the spring here now. It is right here. This hook will fit in one of these 4 grooves. You got to select which one. This one I have marked with some red paint, although it doesn't look red right now. But this is the one I chose to put it in, and it had the spring wound as tight as I could get it to wind. Okay, now I think it's marked red, and that's the slot I am going to try to hook that hook into. And I will literally hook it in like so. Now you got to understand, I'm having to struggle by looking through the viewfinder to make sure that you can see this. Okay, and it hooks like so. Now this is further complicated by another thing, which is the other end of the spring. This end here is attached to this post right here. Now it'll be attached to that and not in tension, not wound up. But while all that's going on, this spring cover piece needs to be over the top of things. So it's not going to be all that easy to get this in position, but I will get it in position and then show you how I personally wind this up and then drop the other gear in place. Okay, I've kind of put the spring into its marked position, and as you can see from the other side, the piece of shielding tin for the spring is in place in between the spring and the gear. And now the only thing that I will have left to do is turn the gear over, drop it in its appropriate spindle, and get this piece over that pin. And I'll do that, but there's no sense in you watching me struggle to get that done. Up, and as luck would have it, I installed the spring backwards so that it would wind in the wrong direction. So this is the correct way to wind the spring, and you can see the hook is in the painted marked area. And I'll try this time to see if I can't succeed. In getting the little part here attached to its little pin too. Yeah, that looks like that's going to be closer to doing the job. Alright. Okay, and there we go. Alright, now the last thing is going to be winding this spring, and that's not a particularly pleasant or easy thing to do, but I will wind it, and as soon as I get it wound, I'll take this gear and drop it in so that it will keep it from unwinding. Okay, and this is the approximate position that the gear with the spring, before it is wound up, should be in before being wound. So I'm going to try just once to see if I can't wind this spring the way that I normally do it while the tape is running. And if we get lucky, I don't know if this will show. I'm going to zoom out and then have my hands and everything are going to be in the way. But this, I'm sure, is not the absolute accepted way to do this. But now you get the idea, and I have to do it free of the camera and free of all elbow encumbrances so I can do it smoothly. I've tried to do this a number of ways without special tools, and it could be that this is going to be the last of it. I've gotten one rotation out of it, and I put this gear in to hold it from that one rotation. Now I'm going to try to get the second rotation. Nope, doesn't want to go. Okay, we'll try it once again with this is, of course, without special tools. That's one rotation. Hope you can all see that, and I dropped that gear in. And now I'm going to try to get the second rotation, and I may be successful, and then again I may not. We'll just have to see. Yes. I hope that was able to be seen. This is all a special tool thing, and given that I don't have the special tools, we have to go with what we've got. Okay, and I'll have to rotate just a little bit more so that this gear will drop all the way in. And I'll try to do that now. Now everything wants to get in the way, but we shall see. Almost. There we go. That's able to be seen. Okay, now a couple of things need to be noted. The tachometer drive, which is here, needs to drop into a special bolt that screws onto the end of the crankshaft on the right side of the engine. And you need to keep in mind that that screw, or that special bolt, has got a left-handed thread. And you don't want to tighten it too tight, and you definitely don't want to snap it off in there. The other thing is that this is a little rubber piece, and there is a sort of a fulcrum pin that goes in through to hold this clutch mechanism. And along with that, Hope you can all see this. This is not so easy looking through a viewfinder. This is the clutch actuation piece that pushes on the clutch rod, which goes all the way through the engine and pushes the plate, the pressure plate, out from the clutch so that the clutch will release. Okay, something else should be noted, and that is, at all times, and if at all possible, the engine should be in neutral. And the best way for you to know that it's in neutral, after this gear is put in and this gear is positioned in its correct spot, is that there is a mark right there and another mark right there. And that is the position that they should be in when you go about assembling this right-hand side of the motor. I hope that's clear enough. Okay, now, so to reiterate, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece back in place. It's got to have this little bit spread. It's got to have that shim in place that I keep dropping. And I will do that now. You little devil. And you can see that everything is now in place so that the cover can go on relatively peacefully. And we'll do that now.